Hello everyone, I am Salvage Man Dan, and today I'm doing a video on how the thieves are taking your ST180 and what you can do to stop them or slow them down, hopefully stop them. Now of course, because you're slowing them down and potentially stopping them, it's highly likely that they're going to damage your car because they're pissed off. So it's better than taking it, to be honest. So I had some feedback in the last video about swearing, so we'll try and be a bit more PG. But yeah, I've got my ST180 out, so I'm going to show you how they're getting into it, and then I'll go through a few little tips on what to do to free. These tips cost you nothing. One of them costs something, but we'll go through it anyway. So yeah, so there's a couple of free things you can do to make this much more difficult to steal, and I'll go through it now. Right, so this is my ST180. It's got the standard Ford door lock, and as you can see, it is currently locked. So what the thieves are doing is they are putting a screwdriver in your lock, they are twisting it to the left until the lock snaps, at which point they are gaining access. So what I'm going to do is, as you can see, the car is locked and alarmed. I'm going to use my key just because I don't want to damage my lock, but this is effectively what they're doing. So they're putting that in there, and they are then turning the key to the left, which unlocks all the doors. Then what they are doing is they're going around the back, opening the boot, and they're gaining entry. Now, if we just shut this boot, what happens is if they instead decide to open the door, it starts beeping, and you have a few seconds before the alarm goes off. So I think it's 10 seconds. Hear it counting down. Yep, so that's how they have 10 seconds that way to plug into it. Now, what they are instead doing is they are climbing through the boot, because when you open the boot, it disalarms the alarm. They're chucking your they're chucking your shit out of the boot, and they are climbing through, and they are then plugging into your OBD port and programming a key. So yeah, they plug into your OBD port and they program a spare key. Now, this programming of a key takes 10 seconds to do. You can buy the dongle on the internet. Don't have to search very hard to buy it, but the device is £500 and the blank keys are £20. So that is what they're doing, unfortunately. They're buying these dongles, they're plugging in, they're programming a spare key, and then they're just pressing the start button and off they go. So I'll just go through what you can do to stop this. Now, the first thing I'm going to show you does have a cost to it. I think they're £120. I'll put it on the screen just here. Rep lock. Now, the rep lock cannot be forced open with a screwdriver, so therefore it is much harder to get into. So you change the lock here, the one that I'll put on the screen, and that means they cannot screwdriver attack your lock. The next thing you can do is you can unplug your boot latch. So when they try and open the boot, it doesn't work. Now, I have seen people where they rip this whole panel off to plug it back in. So ideally you want to pull that cable back well out of the way of where it can be reached. Because if they can't get into the boot, their only option then is to go through the door, where they have the 10 seconds before the alarm goes off. And obviously when the alarm goes off, they're not really going to want to hang around. So that's another free thing you can do there. Another thing you can do for absolute free is you can take this OBD port out from where it sits and hide it up in the dashboard somewhere. So when the thieves get there, they can't see the OBD port. They've not got time to be going all through the dashboard looking for it. In which case they'll probably give up and leave. Another thing you can do is you can buy these OBD ports, dummy ones, on eBay, and you can put it where that one is. So when they plug into it, they're confused as to why it's not reading and why their little dongle they're plugged in isn't programming the key. At which point they think, you know what, this is too much work, I'm going to leave it. So yeah. And the last thing you can do for free is if you're parking somewhere you think, this is a bit dodgy, you know, I've got my lock on the door, I've disabled my boot, but what if they smash the window and plug into the OBD port? Well, you can take your stop-start button with you. Now, obviously this isn't ideal. You don't really want to keep plugging and unplugging the stop-start switch. But if they get in, program a key, and there's no start button, they can't start it. So it's another reason why they might give up. And that's what this is all about, is getting them to give up. So I've got one last thing I'll show you, which you can do to just make them give up. So I'll show you that now. And I believe if you've done all of those 4 things there, they're not going to bother with this car. They're going to think, you know what, too much hassle. Either come back another night, but at which point you probably know that, you know, your alarm will be going off and you'll think, someone's been in this, I need to take a bit more evasive action. So yeah, there are some things you can do to make it fully non-stealable. I know some people put the little thing in there where you plug your key into here and then it disables the immobilizer. You need that to turn off the immobilizer. That is one thing. I think, I forget what they're called now. I'll put it on the screen what those are called. Feel free to drop reviews on those in the comments. I mean, I've not got any first-hand review of that. And the next thing, obviously, I think they're about £300 fitted, and that is a ghost immobilizer, where you put in your key code that only you know to start the car. Now, if you have done, obviously I wouldn't recommend doing the key code and the ghost, do one or the other. But if you've done those 5 things in your car, I believe that ST is not leaving your driveway. So the lock is 130 quid, I think it is. The ghost is 300 quid. So 450 quid, and you've made your ST unstealable, very close to unstealable. So yeah, well worth doing. If I'm keeping this ST, which I think I probably will end up keeping it, I will be doing all of the above. I probably won't bother with the ghost, but I will be changing the door to a rep lock. I will be fitting one of those little immobilizers, and I will be relocating the OBD port to a hidden location. And yeah, and then I'll be enjoying my car and not being worried about it going missing. So yeah, that's just a quick video. I don't really see many of these videos. People are don't really talk about it, whereas I thought it's worthwhile making a video on, just to make people aware. I know there's a lot of these cars around that have no security, this car being one of them. It's not worth it. Keep your car on your drive. But yeah, that's all for this video. Any more ideas on the ST, drop in the comments and I'll be happy to do a video on. I'll probably be doing some videos on repairing this soon. I've not even started repairing it yet, but I will be doing some videos soon on repairing this and getting it back to showroom condition. So that's got a few things I need to do on that. Yeah, if you found this video interesting, please drop a thumbs up, subscribe if you can, and yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Peace. I just wanted to pop on there with one last thought. Visual deterrent's always really good. So a thief looks in your car and they can see certain things straight away. They'll think, I'm not having that car, so it's pointless even trying. Now, steering lock, I've tried not to swear. Kind of think, who cares? It's about a steering lock. They just drive them off with it on or cut it off. But one thing I think is really good is the pedal lock. Now I'll put it on the screen here, because these cars do not start unless you've got your foot on the clutch. If they can't put the clutch down, they cannot start this car. So yeah, they might have a key, but they can't start the car, so it will still sit where it's sat. So I just thought that's one last thing I'd add in here, that I think the pedal locks are a really good thing to get, especially if you're leaving your car on your driveway overnight. Yeah, just want to put that final thing on there.